Hello everyone, this is Jimmy Singh, broker owner of Supermax Realty, 647-961-2639. In today's video, I like to talk about the importance of playing defensive in real estate moving forward in 2022, September onwards, 2023 and 2024. So folks, I get a lot of calls from my investor clients and the people who follow me on my YouTube channel. Some of the questions they typically ask me is, should I be concerned about Canadian housing bubble? Should I buy my own house in 2022? Should we wait to buy a property next year, which is 2023? Before I answer all these questions in the video, folks, I just want you to understand that over 18 years, I worked with a lot of my good investor clients, flippers, renovators, and end users, which are buyers and sellers. And I asked them a very common question a lot of time, which is, what would you do differently? Or, what would you change in your real estate if you have to turn back the time? And pretty much most of my clients answered and said, we wish we could have invested in real estate sooner, meaning long time ago. So best time to invest real estate is now if you have funds and resources to manage the volatility and you have the stomach to, go through the bad patch, which is normal in any cycle. Another thing I like to talk about is, if let's say you had bought property recently but you want to live in and raise your family there, aim for next 3 to 5 years. Don't think too long, 20 years, 30 years. Just plan, just like in any sports they have, first quarter, second, third, fourth. What actually matters is the end results. But we have to now have a small chunk of time because there's so much going on in the market, folks, these days, and things over long time, they're very hard to predict. I see some videos sometimes and I see in the media, people are making bold predictions. See, some of the data which we have today, example, vacancy rate, days on the market, absorption rate, selling to listing ratio, those datas were not available 15-20 years ago, but still people have been investing in land and real estate for hundreds of years, centuries ago. So people with the means, they always like to put their money to work. And it's very hard to predict what the future holds. So anybody's guess is basically, the best guess. Nobody honestly know what's going to happen next year or in 2024, but we can, mitigate some of the risk by following 3 basic principles which I follow, lot of successful people follow. Number 1 is historical data and dealing with customers taught me a couple of things. People prefer to buy houses versus apartments and condos. So houses are always in great demand. People tend to have want their own backyard. They want their bigger space so they can raise their family. If they have pets and everything, they want fenced, nice backyard. So houses will always be better than condos long time. They'll always be desirable. Second thing is, don't buy in far-flung areas, especially brand new pre-construction houses, folks. The reason being is, yes, they're nice and shiny and people have, those houses have newness to it. So people tend to buy those ones. But let's say we go 5 years down the line, they are not newer anymore. If you go 10 years, they are less newer now. And they do depreciate, right? If you buy in a house in a far-flung area, far suburbs from the core area, and there's a lot of vacant land, that might not be appealing to a lot of families, right? Third point is, try to buy a house in a mature, established neighborhood. If you want to play safe and defensive, buy where there's a land value. There's a term in real estate, it's called land to asset value. So I'll just give you example to prove my point. For example, if let's say two couples come to me at the same time, but they both make different decisions. They have same budget of 600,000, approximately 1/3 cost of the house is always the land. So let's say out of 600,000, the land cost is 200,000, and the dwelling or the house structure is costing them 400,000. So the first couple went, to far flung area or suburb, bought a brand new house worth 600,000. So fast forward, folks, house always depreciates. So there, 400,000 house might be worth $350,000 in 10 years time, but land is very, land doubles. So basically, let's say for hypothetically land doubles in 10 years. So their 200,000 land will be worth 400,000. So at the end, 400,000 and 350 is $750,000. Yeah, not bad return, but it is not great either. Second example you can take is another couple actually, instead of buying nice and shiny in far-flung area, they said, you know what, we're going to focus an established, mature neighborhood with good schools, shopping close by, amenities, access to highway, universities, college. So they bought an older house in a mature, established neighborhood where the parcel of the land was substantial. So in their case, the land value was 400,000, dwelling is just 200,000. So fast forward 10 years, their 200,000 dwelling is worth 150, but the land doubled in 10 years. So 400,000 land, which was substantial, it is now worth 800,000. So now their equity or their house is valued at 950,000, and that's actually a great return, right? Because these two things you have to really know, what are you owning? Are you owning a land? Because as I said, dwelling depreciate, and that's a good return for the people who have mature area, a house with a substantial piece of land. So even down the line, let's say for example, you go to any mature city, you go to Mississauga, Toronto, North York, Scarborough, certain pockets of other cities, or Vancouver, you will always see developers seeking land in quality areas. They want to add the value to the neighborhood. They buy a piece of land, tear down the house, make apartment building, make a duplex, triplex, sixplex. So that is very important, folks, what you're investing in. And also what I find is recession proof is invest in top notch, top tier markets. Yes, if your pocket can afford, you have money to invest, and you have a good budget, go and buy a property which is very hard to compare with. So mostly what happen is, though the buyers go find fall in love with the property, at the same time in their mind they're compare shopping that there might be some better deal out there. So let's say you have a nice building in a core downtown location which is probably 70-80 story high, very high-end finishes, very sought after. Those kind of buildings will retain their value in a down market. And also very big estate homes in a very good location, which are very handful, there's not much supply in comparables available, they tend to be very desirable, and people wait for them to pop in the market for them to grab it. So those are the things you have to play in next few years to be defensive investor. You can have better return on your money. Another thing I found in last couple of years, and if I check stats for last 30-40 years, long term I see certain sometimes cities or small towns, suddenly their price catapult or skyrocket for 4-5 years, like short period of time, and people start putting their money in those things, so it inflate more. Whereby if you see the big cities, average you take 30 years, they're kind of consistent. Let's say for example GTA, it's been appreciating at the rate of 6.5% over 30 years. But if I take smaller towns and cities, far from Greater Toronto area, maybe in 2020, 2021, 2022 early, they might double their values. But when the market slows down, they also come pretty hard. For example, let's say you have a certain budget, you go to a grocery store. So either you have an option to spend money to buy orange, which is expensive, versus apple, which is cheap. You might be thinking, my money will go further if I buy apple. So people will, if they have a limited means, they will start looking for apples, because apple is in great demand. The prices start going up. people start ignoring orange, and the demand is not there, so it will probably come down. So this is exactly what happened when the pandemic hit. People thought, oh, in big city we can't afford it, let's go to Niagara Falls, let's go to Chatham, Sarnia, Windsor, London, wherever, or Woodstock. And suddenly they find themselves in a slowing market. They're kind of stuck because their house values have come down, and they leave the big city, which has lot of amenities, lot of job availabilities, lot of good high schools, universities. So those things, guys, you have to be really, really smart moving forward how you make those kind of decisions, because real estate can be costly to go into it and come out of it. So in other videos, I talk about other friction cost, real estate fee, land transfer tax. Those things are very expensive, lawyer fee. These things add up. So they will, your ultimate return will depend, on buying and selling real estate as well. So if you have any questions in regards to buying or selling real estate in around Greater Toronto area, London, St. Thomas, Kitchener-Waterloo, Chatham, Sarnia, Niagara Falls, Windsor, our expert team of Supermax Realty is there to help you out, guys. I'm always available via text or phone. You can reach me at 647-961-2639. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, subscribe, and I will try to post more frequently. I was on a break for last 2 months. So I'll try to keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.